Imagine graduating today and stepping into a world where there's constant change. You have endless options and but also infinite uncertainties. I mean, should you follow the money, chase your passion, or maybe both? How do you choose a career when the job you might choose doesn't even exist, right? I'm Magnus Oxenwaldt, and this is Future Bytes, the podcast where you give practical insights about AI and that you can use immediately in your business. Today's episode is for you, maybe fresh out of uni or you're looking to jumpstart your career or maybe you're a leader wondering how to attract the next generation of AI talents. Joining me is Didrik Nettelhorst Krog, a recent uni, maybe recent, in my book it's recent, graduate whose first job was actually directly in the world of AI. We will talk to Didrik about his personal journey and his current work in AI. But before we get into all of that details, welcome Didrik to Future
Hello.
Bytes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome. So before we get into all the details about today's topic, could you try to introduce yourself to the listeners?
Yes, of course. Well, my name is Didrik. I am currently a associate consultant in Columbus Data and AI unit, where I primarily focus on the AI implementation and advisory as of now. And I'm here to share my thoughts and everything on AI and kind of drawing things from what I learned at the university as well. And I also discuss a little bit about my current project, which in just like Mad Engine, which was on a previous episode, is also a AI initiative project, which is really exciting.
Oh, so you were on that one as well, right? But you're also going to talk about some other projects, and we're going to get into that. But
Yeah.
before, I just want to get to know you a bit better before we get
Mm.
into the handiwork you're doing in your current work. So, what actually inspired you to choose AI as your first career after the uni? I mean, when you got into uni, this hype around AI wasn't there really, right? So,
Mm.
so tell me
No,
about the process.
it was really weird because many of the courses we did were really new, and the curriculum, everything was kind of new because this AI hype started when I
Yeah.
was taking my master's degree, right? But I've always been interested in like human cognition and technology. And I was lucky enough to find a bachelor degree which offered both a cognitive science bachelor degree at the University of Bergen, which allowed me to focus a lot of human psychology and especially cognitive psychology, and then later focus on the technology aspect of it, reference in AI. So I've been interested in that since like first year in high school. So I knew pretty from the start that I wanted to do this.
Well, I need to ask why. I mean, there must be like a backstory here that got you, or do you even know? Because this is most. I'm a bit prejudiced here, but most guys I know who are like AI geeks, they're really technical. They're not looking at these aspects that you just mentioned, but you want to get into that immediately. Like the
Yeah, because I kind of thought that if I wanted to know everything about artificial intelligence, I needed to know like where uh, we got it from, and that is of course our intelligence and our kind of cognitive aspect. So I needed to learn that as well, and I think it's maybe because I was interested in psychology and IT, and I could combine this
and
in this
it's like
way.
when these technologies and the human brain they kind of merge into this gray zone of knowledge, right? So
It does, right?
cool.
So it's really cool, and all of AI is just based on as of now kind of probability and training data, right? But it's just
Mm.
like the human brain, right, where we learn from experiences, which is kind of the training data as well. So in that sense, you can compare it
Yeah, we're
that way.
toddlers as well, right? We need to
We're
train
toddlers.
The difference is we complain about these models being trained for a year or two, but we're being trained for, yeah, how long did it take before you got out of uni? If you're looking at your training cycle.
Well, it was 5 years of training cycle, training data to make me ready for, the testing here with Columbus. So hopefully it's been good.
So um, looking back and trying to compare this with my training cycle, it's so different, right? Because there so much things that happen. And I just mentioned, I alluded in the beginning here to the fact that you might think about a job that even doesn't exist. So what brought you to a place? What made you decide to go into digital transformation consultancy and work with AI? What were the key criterias to choose that particular, company, and what was the thought process around that? I'm just trying to
Yeah.
not only help the people listening that are in, in the Gen Z area, but also the leaders, right? How should they attract someone like you who are like the top level in your generation, because AI in the way we're looking at AI hasn't existed for a very long time.
No, not at all. And it's a really good question. And I feel like when I was out of uni and currently in uni as well, I didn't really know what I wanted to work with. I knew that I wanted to work with AI and all of kinds of AI implementation, but in what field, right? Where is
Mm,
it possible? Where does it create the most value? Where is it efficient? I didn't know. And so I thought that consultancy and advisory, digital transformation advisory, would be the best place to start. And I was a summer intern first here in Columbus, where I just got a sneak peek of what this Columbus's AI strategy was, and I thought
mm.
that was really interesting. And that's kind of how I ended up in Columbus as well. But I think it's the possibility to have all of these different areas where you can implement AI solutions or where you can do anything that kind of attracted me to digital transformation advisory.
How do they keep them? How do they keep you? I mean, and similar minds like you in the business. How do you feel like challenged enough, and what are the top criteria in the workplace? Because the characteristics of a Gen Z is normally that if I go back to myself, who's obviously not a Gen Z, we had appraisal reviews at companies like once a year, whereas I think Gen Zs, they need a little bit more often feedback, like, because and they need the workplace to be digitalized, and and maybe the work life balance is more of a focus or a priority for you than it is for the old timers like me. How do you see
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think I am in the current state of the Gen Z discussion. Maybe I should not express so much of my opinions, but what I think is that maybe in our generation we have more we are more used to the feedback based on, we interact all the time on
that?
internet, social media, wherever, so we're so used to feedback. So when we do not get it, maybe it becomes like, why do am I doing this job at all, and
Yeah.
not necessarily put yourself into the company in itself, like I am doing something for the company. So it's not just me alone here, it's the whole company together mindset you probably should have. Just the one thought I had now.
Yeah, I mean, following the recent debate about Gen Z, you know, um, thinking they're like this lazy generation, I don't think the path you chose was particularly lazy. It's so blurry and requires you to make so many decisions in order to get there. I'm thinking there must have been moments where you were, sort of asking yourself, did I make the right decision? and and
Of
and you were
course it
in
was.
like dark place. How did you like get on path again and think about the things you needed to think about to get focused?
Mostly because I really not necessarily thrive, but like I really love the field. I'm really interested in all of it. So when times are tough or a lot of late hours at work and everything becomes worth it because I really enjoy the field. And maybe that is also one thing that distinguish me maybe from all of this Gen Z kind of debate. Like, if you do not enjoy the field you're working with,
Mm.
it's easier, to get lazy, need more feedback in order to, go forward instead of just focusing and doing a great job because you love it. You love to implement, you love to advise, you're curious about everything of the field. So,
Yeah.
you're always one step ahead because you try always to be one step ahead, right?
So what keeps you up at night is more you're getting energized basically from the interest and all the cool things that are coming out in the areas, and not like predominantly being worried about the future, but you're more positive about futures, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's kind of nerdy to say, but it is right. Yeah, there has been some moments where I go to bed and then I find the solution I've been working on the whole day. So I think constantly of it. Yeah, it's yeah, very nerdy, but I love it.
Right. So you made a choice. You came into work. You're working with AI. You haven't worked with anything else than AI. You studied AI and cognitive ideas and around that to truly understand the future of AI. So what do you do in your workplace? Can you tell me something about current projects or some challenges and good things? I
Yeah,
assume that coming into the workplace, it's probably not as you thought it would be. It would probably be different. And tell me about that journey and the current projects.
of course it was a little bit scary. I started this accelerator graduate program at Columbus, where there's a lot of courses, a lot of things we need to go through to become like this trusted advisor and everything. And it's been really fun. But I think what I've experienced the most is how much, not necessarily work, but how much tasks and responsibility I've received in such a short period. And of course, it's fun because I feel seen at Columbus, and you trust me to do all of this. But it's been more than I thought it would be, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But that's
Is it
kind of
moving
been
too fast?
it has been, but that is how it is
Mm,
in the workplace. You have to start right away in the consultancy branch because then the company is not making money, right? So you have to do
no.
your part. You have to pull your weight, right? And then I got placed in this really exciting AI project where I got a lot of responsibility, which has been really, really fun to do. Of course, difficult and scary sometimes, but in the end, really, really fun.
To just try to get the listeners an idea of your work day. What did you do for that project, and how is the work? I mean, AI is so blurry for most people, right? So what do you actually do at work?
Well, one thing is that this is not a chatbot solution,
Mm,
which is probably the most popular thing that people are referring to when it comes to AI, right?
yeah.
But when I come to work, especially the last half year,
Mm.
I've been working on a solution for a company, which is a generative AI system that is designed to enhance quality assurance in public procurements. So that is the main part where we are interested in, which is really special in this era right now when these generative AI models are starting to reasoning, because that is the part in this specific AI system that we are interested in, the reasoning system of it. So we help this company with a generative AI system with a better reasoning aspect, so we can enhance the quality assurance in the public procurement.
And that's something they're using now and gaining value from, right? So it's
Yes, we are
yeah.
currently testing and some hypercare phase of it.
Yeah.
But this, of course, as you have mentioned so many times before, this is not a system that is supposed to replace the humans, right? In when they are going through these public
Mm,
procurements, but it enhances all of the text in it,
mm.
or like the overview of it, so they know for sure that everything has been done right. Because if this process is not done correctly for this company, it can be very costly for them. So it is really crucial that the accuracy of the quality assurance is nice. And there's when the reasoning capabilities comes in, because if it's reasoning all wrong, then what's the point, right?
Yeah. No, I see that the constant challenge we get into when we're discussing AI products is understanding where is the value coming from, and understanding, that the initial design is normally never exactly the same as the end result, right? Because
Mm,
there's so many unknowns that you cannot design for. So you start by trial and error almost, and then,
of course.
yeah.
Because that is one of the challenges that we have had with this project, is that we had to kind of like adjust all the time, because things are getting new all the time, regarding models and structure and everything available for us, right? And you learn new things all the time when it comes to this field.
And they are learning as well, right? So when you're how big part is making the customers understand the realms of what they're getting, and the technical bit. I mean, it must be like an argumental conversation or dialogue that's happening all the time, trying to train and educate the customers at the same time you're delivering technology.
Yeah, it really is. And for me, that has a very technical background. I can just start yap and yap so long with many words and everything that doesn't mean anything to them, right? So you have to, explain it at a good level and understandable level, right? And how is it as well for the customer when there's always a new problem, always something new, and you have to explain that, oh, it's just because in this field we learn things all the time, so we can't really, give a final answer right away. We have to test out, we have to
Exactly.
try out, right?
Yeah.
And that might be frustrating for the customer, right?
Yeah, and
To
I think there's a lot of reports where say, oh, there's a lot of proof of concepts that fail,
mm,
and I'm thinking, of course there is, because we
mm,
don't have we can't look in the history books and just say this is how you should do it. You need to run a lot of proof of concept and fail
mm,
before you actually know how to do this, because this
mm.
is new technology.
It's just like you said in one of your previous episodes, where it's like an AI agent is a teenager without real world experience, right? And then you have to train it up with many iterations to get it into these, in this case, procurement expert. So it is a trial and error phase, which has been difficult, but we have, of course, there are so many experienced and really good people on this team, project team. So we have managed to find a way through all of these problems we have encountered. So it's been a really fun journey.
Well, if you could choose your next project, I'm sure somebody will choose it for you. But if you could choose, what would be the main essence of such a project? What is, extra cool? I mean, because you're looking at your background, it's lingering on the more on the ethical, more on the like the thought process, the these kind of things, rather than the technology. To be fair, so
Mm.
have you given it any thought?
Now, I think, of course, especially regarding my background, something related to uh, bioengineering is, of course,
Mm,
always really, really interesting.
yeah.
But then again, as we discussed, I'm in this part of life where I don't really know what kind of field I want to work with. I want to work with AI. That's all I know.
But do you
Uh,
need to know? Or you can just take like a day.
but that's
Yeah,
really
you don't really need to decide what you need to do in 2 years' time, right?
no, I don't need to do that. But it's the experience of having like this single thing that you're working with and trying to make this better, right? And of course, in the consultancy
Mm.
field, you can have the same project over many years and everything, but often there's just this small project here and there, and maybe just a large one there. It's not necessarily the same, like, kind of, I built this, I was with this to make it how it is now, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I'm going for in the long run, to have
Yeah.
like this ownership over this product that's going to change the world and make everything cheaper,
Mm.
and right. I think it's something like that, but then I need to find what that is. And who knows, maybe you're right. I will just stay in this kind of field, consultancy, for a further time, because I find it more fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm open to everything right
Well,
now.
time will tell. If
Time will
you
tell.
with well, sort of your limited experience, but still, you've done this journey, and here you are. You were in delivered like two projects already, functional and usable, giving value to customers within the AI space. What advice could you give both to like employers or maybe young talents?
Mm.
Things that you might have failed or at first, and then you had to adjust, or any advice?
I think the best advice I can give and take away from all of this is, when it comes to, it's, we can say AI, but like in especially generative AI, which is the big hype now, but in general, all of AI, machine learning, everything, it's important to know the limitations. That is one of the things I've taken from me from university, because when you know how, like, these systems are built up, all of these components that make up everything, the statistics, not necessarily you need to know everything about the statistics and mathematics behind it, but right, the full architecture of the model you're using,
Yeah.
and its limitations, it's so easy to find use cases
Mm,
and value for other people.
yeah.
Because I feel like the last year there's been so much about, like, oh, AI can do everything and it can do this and it can do that, right? Right? But
Yeah.
actually a lot of limitations to these models, and that I think is the most important part. Uh,
So you need to get
Especially
into
for,
the details, right? You need to deep
yeah,
dive into details in order to understand the concept of it all,
mm,
and design the use cases to match it. Yeah. It's
really. One of the challenges we actually had from the company we were working with was the data representation. You think that AI can do everything, and you just fill it up with so much data and text and everything, and then it comes out, you get disappointed, right? Because it's not necessarily everything you wanted. So you need to know, okay, how do I need to represent the data, because this can only read that and everything, right? That's data representation also is a crucial part of using this models more optimal.
yeah. All right, we're coming to the end. It's been awesome to have you on the show today. So today we explore the concept of or the intersection maybe between the youth and the career choices and AI technology. We discussed Didrik's journey, and I think it's been just fascinating to get all those insights. And I'm happy with one of the key takeaways for me. It's not like a technical one. It's more like you don't stay up late at night worrying, right? You're excited about the future, and I think that's such an awesome thing to take away from this podcast. Uh,
Really, it's really interesting to see where AI will be in just a couple of years.
yeah, it is. It's both scary, but at the same time exciting, right? And
Yeah, and
and
if
you
you
can
just,
you can adopt a positive or a negative approach, right?
yeah, if it's just a little bit of your day to take the time to get to learn, or how these how everything is regarding the AI, you're so much more ready for everything that is about to come, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks again. We're running off. Employers, remember, invest in young talent, and by all means, start by listening to this podcast. A huge thank you, Didrik, for sharing your journey and all your perspectives. Be sure to follow him, I don't know, on LinkedIn. We will put some details also in the description below. So please subscribe for future upcoming podcasts. And if you have any questions for Didrik in upcoming episodes, just post them to us. And but with that, for everyone who's listened, thanks so much, and thanks for tuning in to Future Bytes.